Today, I'm going to be visiting the small town or community of Palmyra, Tennessee, and I'm here to show you something that a lot of people call an oddity. It's even been called that on roadside attractions, but a lot of people, and I say justly, should be calling it folk art. And so let me tell you the story about this. Palmyra was established in 1796, and in 2022 it had a population of 1,960, and it's about 50 to 60 miles north of Nashville. But we're here to see these statues, and you're going to start off with noticing that they have a lot of parts missing, especially the heads are all gone and some of the arms and different things. And because they were badly vandalized before being moved here. And this is on family property, but I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along in the video. But I want to mention the man that made these, and he made these like the last 20 years of his life. And I'm talking about Enoch Tanner Wickham, and he went by the name of Tanner Wickham. And these statues definitely have a story to tell, and I want to get into a little bit of that as we do a little bit more in-depth looking at some of the remains of these. If you were over in Europe, you might not consider these statues different at all, as they do a lot of statues with missing heads and arms and different parts of the body and all. But here in this small town or community, it really sticks out as something different, but it certainly is something worth seeing. I want to give you a little background history on the Wickham family. And from what I've read, it starts out with Harvey and Elizabeth Wickham crossing the ocean from England to get to the United States. And it said while they were en route that their first child, Nathaniel Wickham, was born. And Nathaniel Wickham was the grandfather of E.T., as some would call him, or Tanner Wickham. And in 1834, Nathaniel Wickham would purchase land in Montgomery County across the Cumberland River from the city of Clarksville. And this is basically what we're talking about today, being in the Palmyra, Tennessee area. Now we're going to head over to the Wickham Cemetery, which we're still in Palmyra. And we're going to see the most, I guess you'd call it pristine or better shape of Tanner Wickham's statues that he made, and also we're going to show you Tanner's grave, and you'll get a glimpse. Some of these, as you're looking at here, are newer markers, but as we get up into the other section close to Tanner's grave, you'll see some that are old markers and all, and Tanner himself would make these. As we're taking a little look around in the cemetery here, I want to do a little bit more to catch you up on where Tanner Wickham fit into the family. I'd already mentioned that Nathaniel was his grandfather. Nathaniel and his wife had children, and one of their children's name was Robert. And Robert would marry a lady named Elizabeth Marsh, and she went by the name Betty. And Robert and Betty would end up being the parents of Tanner Wickham. Enoch Tanner Wickham was the youngest of the 13 children that Robert and Betty had. And now, as you can see, there's an angel off at a distance, and this is going to mark the grave of Tanner and his wife and his son. And this is the statue that I said is the best of the shape of Tanner Wickham's. Except there is supposedly I haven't seen it, but they say there is a statue that he made of a soldier kneeling, and it's out by the chapel on the base at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. They also say that the University of Austin Peay University, I should say, has a couple of his statues, one of Alvin York and a couple of his dogs, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But now I'm pretty sure that one there with the cross is one of Tanner's markers he made. He made the one for his son and his wife too, and I'm pretty sure that, and I believe he told me that when I met him, and I met him a few years before he passed away, that he had made the angel here, and it was already at the grave site before he would pass away, and it's not one they moved from somewhere else here. Now we're going to take a little bit closer look at the marker that out of concrete that Tanner had made for his wife, and on it it says Annie L. Wickham, and if you figure up the dates on it, she was 84 when she passed away. And I had read places where that she was called Lena Annie Yarber when he married her in 1906, but this says Annie. The next one there is Ernest W. Wickham, and that was Tanner and Annie's son that was killed during World War II on December the 6th, 1944, and he was at the age of 23. And of course, Tanner's marker, we'll come back and take a little look at him again, but if you look at the dates on it, he was 87 when he passed away. And here's a dedication to the cemetery itself. I'll read what it has on it. Memory of the ancestors of the R.L. Wickham family buried unknown graves and outside this cemetery. Harvey Wickham came from England to America October 1787. Buried John Nolan Cemetery, East Fork of Yellow Creek. Nathaniel Wickham buried in Missouri. Wife Mary Thompson. Bill Marsh buried near Madrid, Missouri. Wife Sally Spicer. Now we're going to go back up and take a closer look at the angel and Tanner's marker here too. And as you can see from this angle here, Tanner and his wife Annie and his son Ernest all have like a concrete slab over the top of their grave. And even though it may be the best of the statues he has, as you can see, it was could use a little bit of the repair work itself, because it looks like some of the wings and all is maybe cracking a little bit on it. As I'm giving you a closer look at the angel, I want to mention a couple of things about statues that I don't know whether the stories are fact or fiction, but they said for a while that Tanner and Annie lived in Robertson County, Tennessee, and when they were up there, he made his actual first concrete statue, or sculpture you should say, and it was of a mailbox, and it had his own likeness on it. And the story goes behind it that that him and the mailman had maybe a little rift going on, and the mailman had said, if I never see your face again, it would be too soon. And of course Tanner had the mailbox with his face on it, so I guess maybe he had the last laugh in that story. The second statue that I want to talk about is what some refer to as Tanner's, really his first statue, and that was after him and Annie moved back into Montgomery County, and we're going to go by and show you where that home place was. And when he got there, he ended up making a large statue, and it was a sculpture of Mary, which was Jesus's mother. As I'm giving you the final look at Tanner's marker before we head over to the home place, I will mention that Tanner and Annie had 9 children. Now to the home place and see the last remaining statues that exist of Mr. Tanner's. And this one is up in the wooded area, and it has been referred to a lot as Paul Bunyan and his blue ox named Babe. But I didn't go up into the woods because it's on private property and it says no trespassing. But supposedly at the base it says on the statue that E.T. Wickham headed for the wild and woolly west. Remember me, boys, while I'm gone. And I saw this when I visited Mr. Wickham years ago, and I wish I could find all my pictures that I took, but that's been many years ago now, so not able to find them. Well, we'll stay up close to the roadway so we're not invading people's property so much here. And I will zoom in, and I don't know if you're going to be able to pause it enough to maybe read what's on some of these markers or not. But this one, when I enlarged it, I could make out that it was supposed to say the words of Andrew Jackson, and hopefully you'll be able to read part of it at least. The horse is in rather good shape, but of course poor Andrew Jackson is headless now, and so we'll show you though that the hoofs look like they got some wear, and maybe even the stomach part of the horse has. But you got to take into consideration that Mr. Wickham made his stuff out of concrete, and he'd use chicken wire and old pipes and other things that he could come up with to make his molds, I guess you would call it, to put his concrete over. This next statue that you're looking at is dedicated to the military. They said Mr. Wickham did that when to remember his son by, mainly, I think. But it does say something, if you zoom close in, you can say it's in memory of those that fought by either land, sea, or air. So anyway, that's hopefully a good enough look that you can make out a few words of it. And there's a couple of more statues down just a little farther, and you can tell there's such a space in between here and the other statues. That's where some of the other remains or parts were moved. And I think maybe the reason those were moved is they were lighter than these here that are rather large and everything. And Mr. Wickham, when I visited him, and his house was across the road, just a little offset from this area right here, and we'll see if we can see if there's any remnants or anything of that after we look at these statues here. As we keep walking toward these next couple of statues, I want to mention a little bit more about that memorial statue there for the military. They had a sportsman club back in Palmyra back in the day when Mr. Wickham was living, and they invited a senator from Tennessee, Estes Kefauver, to speak when they were going to dedicate that statue there. And it said that Senator Kefauver even invited General William Westmoreland to the thing. And Westmoreland supposedly set up berries around it while he was finishing the marker. And approximately 700 to 1,000, they said, attended that ceremony. Can you imagine a little town that's got only around 2,000 people at most, having about an extra 1,000 people visit? I've inserted a picture of Mr. Tanner standing by this statue so you can at least see how it looked when it was in good shape. And the three men that it represented was Estes Kefauver, the senator I just mentioned, and John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy. And if you'll notice, there is 4 feet there instead of the 3 that Mr. Wickham was standing by. And I think that 4th one that he added to the marker was that of Patrick Henry. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit on the writing so you can maybe read some of it. As you can see, there's a John F. Kennedy thing, and the one on Robert Kennedy is not real clear. It's got a lot, and me having to zoom it off at a distance may not make it as clear as you'd like it to either. But at least the one on John F. Kennedy is still real clear, even off at a distance with a zoom on it. And the one on the outer edge of Estes Kefauver, you can make out the name Kefauver there. And yes, it is Patrick Henry. I guess right. There's the name engraved up there underneath that set of feet. Now let's head up to the very last statue that is going to be included in this video today. This would be a good time to say that when I was here many years ago and visited with Mr. Wickham, and he kind of explained some of his statues and what he was working on, and he even showed me some animals out back that he had in cages behind his house there. And I don't remember a lot of them, but I remember him having a little raccoon that seemed to be kind of friendly toward him and everything, and that one really caught my eye because I thought, well, he's taken such good care of this little animal that it's remembering him. And now you can see some would call them cows, some would call them oxen, and even looks like they got a yoke around them, but part of the yoke appears to be broken off. The Vandals really did a horrible job and broke off their horns here too. I'm going to insert a picture here of Mr. Tanner Wickham with his own animals, and as you can see, they had a yoke around their neck too, so I guess maybe that's where he got his idea from. Well, as we get in the car and drive by the road, it looks like there might be the remnants, and I remember there was a a concrete archway, and that looks like the archway that led into Mr. Wickham's house there. And yep, I can see a post and the rooftop of it. So we'll have to park the car and see if we can get a little bit more of a view of the house before it completely falls down. Well, we'll have to go back up and try to enter the way we did years ago when we visited with him, and that is through the archway that led into the house. And sorry, the rays of sun are beaming through, and that may not be the best picture there. But he had a couple of dogs that were on the post, on each corner of the post there, and they said it was a couple of his dogs that he had sculptured of them and all. And I'm not sure remembering what that metal post there was for. Mr. Wickham was so friendly and welcoming when I visited him years ago, and I truly appreciated him taking the time to explain his sculptures to me and what he made, how he made them, and that kind of stuff, and even showing me his animals out back. He was such a very kind man, and I do appreciate that I got to know him and see his folk art when it was in good shape before the Vandals took over. So now let's take a look at, see if we can see what the house looks like. I've inserted a picture of Mr. Tanner there in front of the house when the house was in good shape, so you'd have an idea what it looked like. But now let's take a look around a little bit. And where that object over here, this with some writing on it, I believe maybe in the area where his statued son that called the first of Mary was standing. But I'm not real sure. It's been a long time. And it also has a pole going up, and at the very top's unusual object, and I don't remember that from my visit years ago. But let's go on inside. As you're looking around in the cabin, I wished I could mention all of them and identify which statues were some of the things he sculptured, but he would sculpture people like Alvin York, of course, Andrew Jackson, John and Robert Kennedy, the Indian Tecumseh, and some religious statues as well. And Austin Peay State University repaired a few of these, and in 1982, some of his statues was carried to the World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. As always, I want to say, hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to. And if you don't want to subscribe, or you've already subscribed, I'd love to get a thumbs up, and we'll say see you on the next video.